There's been one topic I haven't really talked about yet, which is the way Halo Infinite was shown on the Xbox Game Showcase. As we all know, when Xbox had their show, the main game that was advertised was Halo Infinite, and how it would be one of the best shown games for the upcoming generation. The hype was unbearable, and the build up to the gameplay showcase was something that I never experienced before in terms of anticipation. And of course, there was a lot of hype for Halo Infinite. I mean, it's Halo. But when the game was shown, a lot of gamers from all over the world found it a little lackluster and didn't really understand the art direction the game took. Then the rumors started circulating that the multiplayer wouldn't be there at launch, which was just a useless rumor. But the main thing that a lot of people talked about was the lack of textures and the pop-ins that happened during the gameplay. So of course everyone ran to Twitter and decided to destroy the game and call it a failure, not giving the game any positive feedback. And that's something I just couldn't get behind, because while I enjoyed the gameplay a lot, I did see that there was room for improvement on a lot of aspects of the game. Which brings me to what Xbox had to say about the whole thing, because it's obvious that Xbox and 343 Industries understands the backlash to the Halo mess that happened. But it's great to know they didn't just put their heads down and decide to not address the situation. Instead, 343 Industries and Xbox had statements regarding the Halo showcase. Not only talking about the direction of the game, but also making fun of Craig, the brute that's taken all of gamers' hearts. So let's get into this response Xbox had, because I truly enjoyed what they had to say, not to mention this showcase gave us Craig, and I'm okay with that. So let's get into it. But first, like always, if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. So let's get into this response by Xbox, because I do have to say, I think that the Halo Infinite game could have been shown off a little better. Does it mean I didn't like the demo? Of course not. I actually enjoyed what I saw a lot. I love the open world aspect of the game, not to mention I know I'll be playing the entire campaign with my friends on Legendary. So yes, the game looks extremely promising, and I think the hate regarding the game is a little overblown. But that doesn't mean Xbox could stay silent and allow the negative narrative run rampant, which the article brings up here. Halo Infinite developer 343 Industries has addressed some of the biggest concerns following its Xbox Games Showcase reveal, including graphics, if there will be a multiplayer beta, and how the game will handle microtransactions. The answers to these questions and more were discussed on Halo Waypoint, and 343 came right out and acknowledged the feedback, both good and bad, that follow Halo Infinite's campaign gameplay reveal, beginning with graphics. So right off the bat, we know that the article does acknowledge the fact that the game had troubles during the demo showcase, which we all have to admit, the game did need to be shown in a better light, but at the end of the day, I didn't find the demo to be that bad, but I'm extremely aware that it could have been shown a lot better, and that's something that's addressed in this article from a community manager at 343 Industries. Here's what he had to say when those questions were raised. Based on our learnings from Halo 4, Halo 5, and Halo Wars 2, along with strong community feedback, we decided to shift back towards the legacy aesthetics that defined the original trilogy. With Halo Infinite, we're returning to a more classic art style, which was a key message going back to the very first reveal that garnered enthusiastic and positive responses. This translates to a more vibrant palette, cleaner models, and objects with less noise. Though it doesn't mean less detail. While we appreciate this may not be everyone's personal preference, we stand by this decision and are happy to see it resonating with so many fans around the world. Now, this actually resonates with me, because while I loved every single Halo I played, I always felt that they were going away from what I know Halo to be. I always felt the suits were getting a little too flashy and that things needed to be brought back down a little bit. And that's why I love the new Halo look, because they did go to a little bit of a more classic aesthetic. And while Master Chief himself looks quite awesome and in great detail, that still doesn't give an excuse to the world environment pop-ins or the pretty terrible facial animations. But I do have to say that the world surrounding Master Chief was pretty cool and intrigued me a lot more, because I always wanted to be given free reign to explore the entire ring of Halo if I chose to, and that's exactly what I'm getting in this game, and it's something I can't wait to do. Yet again, I could tell this game was an early build, and Xbox said as much when they said that the build was running on a PC and was built back in January. Now everyone here knows I'm not the excuse-making type, so I will say that Xbox should have had a better demo ready with this showcase and maybe shouldn't have used that older build. Do I think they will drastically change the game when it comes out in November? No, I don't think that. I have a feeling some small pop-ins and the graphical detail will be cleaned up, but the overall direction of the game will be the same. And that's something that's said in the quote I just read. 343 Industries is actually happy with the direction they took the game, and they wanted to scale it back and not make it have a lot of noise, as they put it. But that doesn't mean they can't provide far more detail into things around the world and surrounding Master Chief. And that's where I think they need to concentrate their efforts for the next couple of months before launch. Not to mention getting ray tracing working on launch day. There's no excuse to not have that working day one when the game launches. If they need to even delay the game because of the situation the world is dealing with, then delay it and get the game ready to launch at its full capacity. Because I do want a great Halo to launch with my Xbox Series X, and I can't wait to play with my friends, but again, I can wait for a better product. And I hope 343 Industries and Xbox understand that. And from what's said in even more detail here gives me hope they understand what they need to do for the Halo game. Here's what else is said. The second theme being discussed involves visual fidelity. Negative feedback in this area includes comments around characters and objects appearing flat, simplistic, and plastic-like. Lighting feels dull and flat and object poppin'. We've read your comments, we've seen the homemade examples of retouch content, and yes, we've heard the Digital Foundry assessments. In many ways, we're in agreement here. We do have work to do to address some of these areas and raise the level of fidelity and overall presentation for the final game. The build used to run the campaign demo was work in progress from several weeks ago, with a variety of graphical elements and game systems still being finished and polished. While some of the feedback was expected and speaks to areas already in progress, other aspects of the feedback have brought new opportunities and considerations to light that the team is taking very seriously and working to assess. We don't have firm answers or outcomes to share yet, but the team is working as quickly as possible on plans to address some of the feedback around detail, clarity, and overall fidelity. The team is committed and focused on making sure we have a beautiful world for players to explore when we launch. You see, I find this extremely humbling to see a team actually admit that they could have done better and that they actually agree with the negative feedback. For them to be that self-aware and actually say they have a lot of work to do makes me a little happy, because I always want a better product. As gamers, I'm glad we gave them constructive criticism, because this game is Halo, and Halo deserves to have the best developers and the best looking shooter around. It's a massive game that, even with its negative feedback, will generate a lot of hype and impressions across all of social media. And while there were trolls out there making some hilarious memes of Craig, the new Halo icon, I still found it great that 343 Industries and Xbox understood things can improve. With that said, I don't really buy the whole thing about this being an older build. While I understand this is several weeks older and some things could be cleaned up, I do believe that the final product will look a lot like this, and people need to understand that's the art direction they took. Will it improve with ray tracing and a bunch of other aspects being worked on over the next couple of weeks? Of course. But again, I think the art direction is clear, and people will have to realize this is the way the game is going to look. And I guarantee when we all get to play this at 120 FPS or 60 FPS, we're going to have our minds blown with how smooth the gameplay is. Because to me, that's king in a game, the gameplay, especially when it comes to a multiplayer-centric game like Halo. Because while I love the campaign and Master Chief, the main attraction for most gamers of Halo is the multiplayer aspect. And I know playing at 120 FPS will make everyone that loves the multiplayer aspect of Halo feel even more immersed in the game. And that's the whole point. And that's something that Xbox has been trying to hit home with the Xbox Series X, which is immersion and frame rate, something that their competitors aren't really talking about. And while all of that is a lot of information, there was still one more little tidbit that really set the Halo world on fire. That was the announcement of Halo Infinite's multiplayer will be free to play. Here's what the official Halo Twitter had to say. Halo is for everyone. We can confirm #Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and will support 120 FPS on Xbox Series X. More details will be shared later. Now that's what I call a huge announcement, and something a lot of people saw coming for a little while now. So while Halo had a lot of ups and downs during the showcase, the overall feeling for me was extremely positive, because I enjoyed the franchise and I love to play Halo with my friends over 4-player co-op. Let's hope when the game launches they can clean some of the nitpicky stuff up, and over time they give us the ray tracing along with the other big details we want. Either way, I'll be there day one playing the game like crazy for weeks on end. But enough about what I think about all this. Tell me what you think about all of this. Did you enjoy the Halo Infinite demo? What concerns did you have with the gameplay demo that was shown? Do you think they can change the game drastically in the next coming months? Are you excited to play Halo on your Xbox Series X? Is Halo Infinite at 120 FPS a reason for you to buy a brand new Xbox console? What other launch titles are you looking forward to outside of Halo? Is the free multiplayer surprising to you? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. Right now, I'm still playing through Ghost of Tsushima. I'm having a lot of fun with that game. I'm trying to do everything around the map, and I find the game extremely detail-oriented. I love the combat. I love actually switching stands, and the game is just really well done. I really have to applaud PlayStation and Sucker Punch for this game. It's really grabbed me and immersed me into the world. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.